Hello, Penny Peirce.
Hello, Lilu.
Good to have you back. This time we're going to talk about dreams because you actually
Yes,
wrote Dreams for Dummies
yes.
and the dictionary for dreams. So tell us
Yes.
about dreams. Why? What can we discover with by remembering our dreams?
Well, I think that one of the important things about working with dreams is that you start to understand that you have another part of yourself that's very active when you're asleep. That you are not just your waking self, that there's a lot more to you, and you're doing things all night long, just as you are all day long. So that you're exploring many dimensions. And so my position on dreams is that everything is real. All dreams are real, and that we're actually traveling through different dimensions of ourself during the night and even during the day, because we're constantly zooming in and out through this kind of zoom lens that we have about reality, and we're changing our lens, in and out, looking at different things. So by understanding that your dreams are basically information about your own growth process, then you can start to understand, what am I really doing, inside of myself? What am I doing, So I think that's the biggest thing about dreams.
So tell us what is happening while we sleep. Then why does it help to those solutions or those? Is there kind of a process that happens overnight, or our unconscious that is liberated? What happens?
Well, I don't know exactly why we dream the things we do in sequence, just like we have no reason why we notice the things we do during the day, in the sequence we notice them. But I think at night we relax the conscious mind as you stop thinking of yourself as a body and a personality named Penny Peirce and Lilu, and we relax, and that makes us expand, so that our consciousness actually goes out through the ball of awareness around us and encompasses more time and space. And the more we relax as we get into the deeper levels of sleep, where you go out into theta and delta levels, we're accessing information out at maybe I would call it the causal level, or the Akashic record level, or the place that's very close to the soul, where the collective consciousness. And then you can, almost like realign yourself with your new blueprint or your higher purpose. And then we come back down to the body in the morning, wake up, remember ourselves as a physical self, and go about this part of the dream. Because, all of our experience is sort of a dream. It's like the soul is dreaming everything,
You
and we just go in and out.
Yeah, you're mentioning something interesting here, the Akasha Records. Can you tell us about that, and why can we access it more particularly during our dream? What are those? Can you tell us more about that?
Uh, Well, I think in the book I wrote, I talk about levels of the self, and I'm calling them dream zones. That we go through these levels, but at the very highest level, furthest out, there is I call it the causal. It's a common term. It's the place where purpose resides, where the collective consciousness resides, and really the memory of all the lifetimes you've ever had and everything that's happened on Earth and will happen on Earth. It's all there in a kind of a large memory bank of the planet and all beings. So everything's available there. And as you go out to that level, you remember yourself. You remember all the things you've done, all the things you want to do, all the things everyone else wants you to do, again. But there are certain mediums or psychics who have the ability to access that memory bank. And some see it as a large library,
Mm-hmm.
literally. I mean, you can go in and pull books off the shelf and open them and read them
Yeah.
about people's past lives. But I think we do that all the time at night anyway. We access it for ourselves.
So our
And
soul
that
travels there. Is that what happens at night?
we expand into that, let's say. We don't actually leave our body. We expand ourselves out beyond the body into higher levels of frequency or of energy or of knowledge or consciousness. And as you do, you encompass more time and space. And of course, you encompass more awareness and knowledge. And as the further out you go, the more collective things become. The closer in you come back to the body, the more personal and individual. And you breathe, you inhale, and you become the whole. And you come back down and you become me, us and me. And we do that during the day too, when you space out.
Yeah.
You're working and then suddenly unconscious out of your body, and then suddenly come back again. And here I am.
Uh-huh.
But at night we do it too.
So how can we? What are the different cycles that happen? When are those dreams really happening? What are the most significant dreams that are happening? Because most of the time, most of us, I guess, are remembering the one in the morning just before waking up when we fall back asleep.
They do occur in cycles throughout the night, maybe 3, 4, 5 cycles per night when you're in the REM sleep state where the eyes are moving.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in that state, your body muscles are not working. You're very still, but you're out moving around a lot in those other dimensions. When you come back into the body level, then the body starts moving and tossing around during the night. So it alternates back and forth. But I think that REM sleep state is where we rejuvenate ourselves. We really need that in order to stay healthy, because it's where we go back and we feel ourselves as the soul and we remember who we are. And then that fuels the daytime, the mental reality we get into during the day. But I think that the early morning sleep state, because it does deepen a lot as it goes on through the night. So that last one is very, very deep.
Okay.
So it's fine to just remember those dreams that you have then, because they're probably the most important ones anyway.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So give us some tips on how to remember it, because I guess it's a burning question for a lot of people.
Yes. It helps to do almost a little ceremony before you go to sleep at night. First of all, I think it helps to clear your mind by going back through the day and having kind of what they call a nightly review, where you say, well, I did this today, but I really meant to do this and I didn't finish it. So tomorrow I'll do that. And I feel good about this and not so good about that. And okay, now I'm fine. And you've completed things from the day. Then you turn your attention to the night and you say, what do I want to do tonight while I'm asleep? Mm-hmm. And you set some intentions. And that could be, I want to go visit my sick mother, or I want to go work on healing, or I want to talk to my guides, or I want to get more energy in my body. So you can set up things that you'd like to do. So that helps, just directing attention. And then secondly, some people have a ritual where they have a little glass of water by their bed and they say, I'm going to drink this water, a little bit of this water now, and then I'm going to charge it with my intention of remembering my dreams. And then in the morning when I wake up, I'm going to drink a little more of it, and it'll help give my body the subconscious message that I mean it, that I'm going to remember.
Interesting.
The other thing is, this is a very powerful technique, actually. You imagine a little ball of light, like a golf ball size, and you put it in the back of your neck, right where your head and neck join together. And inside that ball, you imagine a sentence, something like, in the morning, when I wake up, I'm going to remember my most important dreams. And then you imagine that that's in the ball, you put it in your neck, and during the night it dissolves. And it gives that suggestion to you. And then in the morning, have a journal or a tape recorder and record something. Because then the body believes you. If it's not physical, it was just a thought passing through. So if you don't remember a dream right away, you make one up and write something down, no matter what. It could even be just your first thoughts of the day, the first thing that came into your mind. Or you can make up a little dream or a little imaginary thing. But have the activity of your body, completing the circuit. And then keep doing it. And it may take 3 days or 7 days to get it to flow. And then it will start happening constantly.
So
But
it's a muscle we can work.
Yeah, and it's a habit.
It's a habit, yeah.
You know, and the body will listen to you if you are serious and you repeat it and you follow through.
Can
and
you
then
explain to us why do we have to place that light ball here?
It's like back in here is where our old reptile brain is. It's the instinctive part of our awareness where the body listens. It's where we have fight or flight reactions and truth and anxiety signals where we expand or contract. And so it is in that point where we pick up a lot of very unconscious information. So it just activates that point by putting your attention on it.
So once we have written all this or recorded all this, I guess with a bizarre voice, probably. There's some things that are totally crazy, dragons and people that are there in your dream, but it's just like, what are they doing there? Children. What do we do with all that information?
Yes. So it helps to think first, like I said already, that everything in your dreams has some level of reality. And it is all about your process of growth. So now you have to understand at night. And if you're in one dream zone, the dreams may look a certain way. Like if they're very close to the physical world, like in the emotional body or the emotional zone, you're going to have symbols in your dream. You'll have emotions in your dream. You'll have raging rivers or falling off mountaintops or things that are very dramatic and emotional and tactile. Those kind of dreams are very close to your ordinary reality. Now as you go out to the mental zone, you may have dreams that have symbols that have to do more, like for instance with the air, like flying through high tension lines or something, and the sparks are coming, and that may be mental interference. And you're working on something in your belief system, often. So the dream zones often relate to the elements too. So if you cars, that would be about your physical body, your vehicle for moving in the physical world. If you have dreams about boats, you're in the water. That would be emotional realm. You're moving through the emotional realm. This is the symbol of that. If you're moving through the air in airplanes, rocket ships, or without a vehicle, it's air. It's the mind. And if you're way out in outer space, it's often more spiritual and causal and Akashic record kind of level. So you can kind of tell by the element that's surrounding you, and also by the level of abstractness in the symbol or concreteness in the symbol. So, for instance, I often dream in geometric symbols. I just wake up and there's a triangle floating in front of my face, or little dots. Before, I remember that I was the dots. I was in the pattern of the dots, and then that meant something. I was rearranging myself somehow. And so it wasn't about a symbolic dream at all. It was about energy. It was an energetic pattern that I was working on, probably at a higher level. And then you may not remember dreams in cycles, because if you're way out in the very high levels of the self, they're not symbolic. You may come back with a feeling state, where that doesn't have an image connected to it. Or you may just feel light, or you may feel tangled. These are activity levels you've been doing at night. So first I'd say try to find out which dream zone the dream was in, and then see how, if you were a symbol, you can start to practice merging, saying, what do I know about? As if I'm a car with a right fender that's bashed in, or a flat tire. What does that mean about my body? How do I feel? And then you can get a sense that, I'm having trouble moving forward, or I'm wounded over here a little bit. I have something to work on here. Mm-hmm. You see? So I always do it by personalizing the imagery of the dream and becoming it again, and seeing how I feel, and then seeing, what do I know? by being this thing? What do I know about?
So,
And that's the way I'll start interpreting.
and then I guess there is an action part. There's something to do and to act upon. It could be a warning or something positive, or
Often you can get warnings. If your conscious mind, you will try to get through to yourself. Your soul will try to get through to you in the least obstructed pathway. So either when you're very absent-minded during the day or at night in a dream, the mind is more out of the way then, so you can get through to yourself. And if I dream about someone else very pointedly, I always call them and tell them the dream and say, well, I don't know what this means, but I dreamed about you last night and you were doing this. Make of it what you will, But I always try to share if I think it might have something to do with someone's life,
Could you tell us about that dictionary for dreams? How does that help?
Yeah. Here it is. It's a little book.
Cool.
Very cute. Yeah. I wrote this after I wrote Dreams for Dummies, and I had looked at a lot of the dictionaries, and I found that the meanings of the dream symbols were very antiquated and stupid. They just didn't mean much. And so I decided I would reinterpret most of the symbols through my own intuition. And also that I would interpret them at 3 different levels. So if you were working with dream zones, so let's say, here, I'll just pick one out of here. Here's an eagle or a hawk.
Perfect.
So at a physical level, if you dreamed of an eagle or a hawk, it says you're focusing on your own natural authority, nobility, power, courage, fierceness, and pride. You're looking at long-range goals and ambitions, perhaps connected to attaining wealth and influence. And if it were about your emotional process, if you were in the emotional zone for that, it would be that you are learning to control your emotions and focus attention, though you may be aggressive and somewhat ruthless. So you may be telling yourself that you're being this way, and you might want to be working on that. But then if it were at the mental spiritual level, and you're dreaming about an eagle or hawk, you're stretching your mind into the spiritual realms, looking for clear perception and keen discrimination and a larger perspective. These high-flying birds act as messengers from the sun or soul, from other souls in the highest dimensions, so look for messages and lessons. So every word is defined at 3 different levels, and it's very unique. Even though, I don't know if you have Dummies books in Europe, but
yeah, we do.
They're, it's a funny thing because it says Dummies, but it's actually, they have a term. These books are really jammed with information.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I'm gonna get it. This is really cool too. And plus, it must also encourage you and want to practice this too. And I guess you get even more creative once you have this book next to you, and you have a tool.
Well, part of it's very much about symbols and imagery, and interpreting a symbol means that you have to feel into it. You have to use your sensitivity to be able to empathically merge into that thing and see, well, what does it do? What am I here for? What is my purpose? What do I want? What am I here to offer? And you personalize it. And then you get the meaning of it directly through your body in the present moment by becoming one with it. So in a way, it's a wonderful practice spiritually to merge with things in life and become one with them, and to know what they know, the person, and know what they know. You can merge with a rock and know what it's been through, So that's one thing, but also it helps you understand that waking reality can be interpreted the same way as nighttime reality, because the things that happen to us during the day, sometimes they're very much like dreams. They have very odd symbolic meanings. And I just have this habit now of talking to my inner perceiver, that part that is doing the dreaming, and saying, why am I looking at this now? Or what does this mean? Why am I showing myself that odd image right now? And using it as a way to become interested in life, to become connected and engaged with life, you know.
Very inspiring. So how about just quickly for the kids or recurring dreams? You know how sometimes you can have scary dreams when you're little, or even later on they keep on coming back and back and back. It's the same one. You can't get rid of it. It's really there. How do you deal with that?
Well, I think there are different kinds of recurring dreams. Some of them actually are from past life experiences. Often nightmares, for instance, are the kind that will come back and recur that way. And
yeah,
often I think it has to do with dying traumatically in a previous life. There will often be this situation where I used to have one where I was in a car and I would lose control and I'd go over a cliff and fall a long way. And in the falling, I'm getting in the back seat on the floor. I'm going to cover myself with my hands. I'll be okay. And then realize, oh, I'm going to die. And over and over and over again until I actually had some of my past lives. And the last life I had, I died by sleepwalking out a window and fell. And as soon as I had that dream, and that knowledge of that life, the dream stopped. Huh. Actually, I had one more dream where I fell in slow motion out of a tree, and it was so slow I could say, these are the stages that you go through in dying by falling. Wow. Now you do that, now you do that, and then it was done. It was completed. It's almost like my conscious mind didn't have time before to complete this experience. So I think that some recurring dreams are that. Until you get through that stuck place, they just keep coming back until you can move the energy through. And other recurring dreams may be the result of stress, like being chased. You know, a lot of people have that. Someone's chasing me, and then they wake up panicked. Something that is trying to be integrated into who they are. And as long as they deny it or repress it, it's going to chase them, you know. And if you're too distracted at work and have too many things to do, that level of tension can produce those kinds of recurring dreams.
Is there something else, Penny, that you would like to share with us that we haven't talked about that is important to realize about dream, or something that you want to make sure that we know of?
Yeah. Well, I do think, I said this in the beginning, but I think that it's important to think of the daytime reality and the nighttime reality as a continuum. That I do something today, I'm noticing certain things, then I take that often into my dream world and work on it at a different level. And then I may dream some new things, which I then bring into my daily reality and work on manifesting. And then I go back out and I see what's possible in the higher world, and I come back in. And connect your consciousness at the end of the day, like I said, with a nightly review, and you complete the day, and then you turn your attention to the night. Then you do the dream. Then at the end of that segment, you remember your dreams, write them down, and set your intention for the day, and then go back and keep that circle going. Then it's amazing what kind of awareness starts to happen in you. You feel very, very super conscious as that occurs. Yeah.
Wonderful, Penny. As usual, it's absolutely a delight to be interviewing you and hear all this wisdom. Thank you so much.
Yo, you're welcome. It's really fun. Appreciate it.